Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio. So today, I'm giving you my set review, my top 10 cards from Steam Seed. So, let's start off with a little bit of a speed round, looking at cards that did not make the top 10, but might be worth thinking about. I'm going to try doing these quickly. You know from my videos, this isn't always my strong point, but let's do this. Cobalion, I like the attack Revenge Blast, 30 damage plus 30 more for each prize card your opponent's taken. Your opponent's taken 5 prize cards, you do 180. With the metal decks around, Bronzong, etc. and Genesect, if this card was released a year or two ago, if it had been released at any point in the last kind of 8 sets, it would have been a one-of in every Genesect deck. But it wasn't, and now it's not going to be anywhere near as good. Fungus could have been good if it read ball cards, not Pokeball cards. Pokeball is not a great card. Sorry, Fungus. Mega Steelix. I like Mega Steelix. I like the large HP. I like the fact that you can use Carbink Break to get strong energy on him. I like the fact that you can tank using cards like Reverse Valley and Shield Energy, or Smash using strong energy. I just think it's a little bit too slow to make the list. I like it. I will make this deck, but it's a little bit too slow. Toxicroak, I love his ability. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's poison Pokemon. There are a few ways to go with this. The upcoming Mega Beedrill card that does automatic paralysis and poison, but forces you to discard all the energy attached to it. You paralyze them with Mega Beedrill, and then they're poisoned so they can't touch Toxicroak. Or in Expanded, where Hypnotoxic Laser is everywhere, that makes Toxicroak pretty good. You poison your opponent with Laser, and then you just sit there with Toxicroak doing 50 damage a turn. It's not enough, just so we're clear. And if you want one more, how about Ariados, who poisons your opponent's active Pokemon and then they can't touch Toxicroak. Honestly, the 50 damage and the fact that Hex Maniac exists to turn off Poison Enzyme, and that we've got Gardevoir who's going to be good, means I'm not a huge Toxicroak fan. Hawlucha will be good when we don't have cards like Lysander. Hawlucha forces your opponent to switch their active Pokemon. It is your opponent's choice. They choose which Pokemon goes active. But when we have no gusting effects, like Pokemon Catcher, Lysander, etc., Hawlucha will be good. Until then, it's an occasional tech that you need to remember is out there. Talonflame, I love it because you can put it on your bench to start the game. And if you start with Talonflame, you do 40 damage for 1 energy and search for any 2 cards, helping you set up. Although remember, N is in the format now, which could ruin that if your opponent plays an N after you use Talonflame. And it's got free retreat and 130 HP, making it an excellent starting Pokemon. What's the problem? You've got just under 50% chance of starting with it if you play for Talonflame. And it's not good if you evolve it up to a stage 2. It's only good if you start with it, and the odds are not quite good enough. And the last card that got cut from my top 10 list, the closest one, call it number 11 if you like, but I will not. You see up above the card, is there a number 11? No there isn't. Sorry guys, it's Yveltal Break. I like this card. I think the attack cost of free dark is a little bit awkward, but I think 120 plus 30 to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon that already has damage on is good. I think this combos really nicely with the Breakthrough Fright Knight Yveltal that does 60 to the active, 60 to one of your opponent's bench DXs, and I think it combos very nicely in Expanded with the Dark Explorer's Darkrai and his Night Spear attack doing 30 to one of your opponent's bench. Spread damage around, bring in the break. 2 reasons I don't like this too much. First of all, the attack is more expensive, and because it's a bit of a setup Pokemon, Yveltal generally less useful than both the X and Y / reprinted a million times and Breakthrough Yveltals. And it's got less HP than either of those Yveltals if you stick a Fighting Fury belt on them. However, I think it is a one-of in most Dark decks. So, with the speed round of cards you should be looking at but not loving so much, let's start off with number 10, and this is the one part of this video where I might be pandering to more popular opinion. This is Chloritza and Chloritza Break. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Chloritza, but an awful lot of people have been getting in touch through YouTube, Twitter, @TheWassy, etc. to tell me how much they like this. And really, it's the Chloritza and his ability Mega Boost. It allows you to attach an extra special energy to one of your Mega Evolution Pokemon. Now, it's a stage 1, it's a water, which means you can use Archie's Ace in the Hole if you so wish to pop it on your bench as if it was a basic Pokemon, as long as you've got it in the discard, and Archie's is the only card in your hand. Now, you could use this for a variety of Mega decks. You could use this for Mega Mewtwo, to pop a DCE on there, or indeed for Mega Rayquaza to put a DCE on there. One thing a whole bunch of people have suggested to me is using it for the Dragon type Rayquaza EX, or Mega EX I should say. And I still think this is a little bit slow, a little bit clunky. I think if you compare this to decks like the colourless Rayquaza EX, with your Shaymins and your Delta Evolution, etc., etc., then it does become, slower, quite frankly, and a bit more awkward. But let's have a quick look. Since it's here, 5 energy, Dragon Ascent does 300 damage, and you discard 2 energy. The theory, of course, is that you attach a double dragon as your attachment for the turn, then you attach a double dragon with Chloritza, and then all you would need is maybe 1 Mega Turbo, and you've got 5 energy in 1 turn. And, of course, there is that trainer card that is being released in this set, which allows you to shuffle your special energy into your deck, which seems to help. Maybe. I don't know, we will see how it works out. Now, if we add in the break, we go up to 130 HP, we get a moderately useful attack, but if you're attacking over 2 turns with Chloritza, because the lock-on does nothing, and then you do 180 the next turn, if you're doing a 2-turn attack with Chloritza, it's not that great. The extra HP, is it really worth it? Probably not, to be perfectly honest. In at number 9, and to be honest, it makes me sad to put it down this far. This strikes me as one of these cards I might like a little bit more than everybody else, but it's Gardevoir EX, or to be perfectly honest, Mega Gardevoir EX. Now, maybe I'm biased because Gardevoir is currently my main character on Pokémon Tournament. That is a possibility. But I like Mega Gardevoir for a few reasons. Let's go through them. First of all, the dual typing, both Fairy and Psychic, means you get to hit for double the weakness. And, of course, Psychic means you're hitting decks like Mega Mewtwo for weakness, which are likely to be good. Not only are you Psychic type, but you are not weak to Psychic, as so many Psychic Pokemon are themselves. This is really, really good. You're weak to Metal. And yeah, there are cards like Excadrill which could run through Mega Gardevoir, but how many people are playing them? With Bronzong being rotated, like I said back with Cobalion, Metal decks are taking a hit, and as we start next season, this is going to be a very good weakness to have. As for the attack, 110 damage for 2 energy. Again, cards like Mega Turbo or indeed Xerneas' Geomancy are going to get the energy on pretty quickly here. 110, but you can discard as many bench Pokemon as you like and do 10 more for each that you discard. And so here you would play Skyfield, you would load up your bench, and you would be discarding your Shaymins. Play Shaymin, draw cards, get rid of them, super rod them back in, rinse and repeat. You can abuse cards here like Hawlucha or Absol, etc. I like the idea of using Pokemon with coming into play abilities here. And of course, you can just discard a couple of cards here and there if you only need to do 120, 130 damage. I think Gardevoir will really struggle to get up to the top damage, one-hit KOing EXs and Mega EXs, which is why she doesn't get higher up on this list, but make no mistake about it, she's pretty good. Number 8, Xerneas Break. Now, I'm not going to go into a great amount of detail about this because I did a fairly comprehensive video which seems to be going down rather well. A link is in the description, but if you want a very quick version of it, you can use a whole bunch of cards like Max Elixir, like EXP Share, and Geomancy on Xerneas to get a whole bunch of energy out quickly, pile energy on the field, and do 20 times all your energy with Xerneas Break. The best thing, when Xerneas Break gets KO'd, you only lose 2 energy, you do extra damage for all the energy you attach to the bench without having to risk it being knocked off your active Pokemon, and you only give up 1 prize. Sounds pretty good to me. At number 7, we have Klefki. Now, Klefki's an odd one, which is why he ends up down at number 7. Now, the thing about Klefki is, this could either be a really good staple in every deck, or it could be completely and utterly unplayed, and this will depend on how much Mega Evolution decks are played, how often, how regularly. If decks like Mega Rayquaza and Mega Mewtwo and Mega Primal Groudon and Mega Sceptile, etc. become played lots, then Klefki becomes amazing. But if people get bored of Mega decks, now it looks like they're going to be good at the beginning of next season, but we don't know. If Mega decks don't see a huge amount of play, Klefki becomes completely and utterly pointless, except maybe as a novelty keychain. Now, the ability allows you to attach Klefki as if it were a Pokemon tool, and then the Pokemon to whom it is attached cannot have any damage done to them by Mega Evolution Pokemon. If you're wondering about cards like Hexmaniac and Gardevoir, the ruling is they do stop Klefki using the ability to attach as a tool, but once attached as a tool, they do not stop Klefki giving immunity from EXs. Again, Klefki could easily rock up to number 1 or 2 if Mega decks become the best decks in the format, but then everyone plays Klefki, nobody plays Megas, and Klefki becomes rubbish again. Hey ho. Now, I think number 6 is where we see the cutoff in this particular set. I think number 6 is where we go from interesting cards. I really like Xerneas Break, but I'm not saying it's going to be the best card ever, although I will be playing it next season. I think 7 to 10, good cards with potential. I think 6 upwards, really good cards that are going to see play. And in at number 6, we've got Special Charge. Now, if Special Charge was coming into the format we are just leaving, it would be an awful lot better. Shuffle 2 special energy cards from your discard pile into your deck. At the World Championships, this card is going to be huge. At the World Championships in August 2016, Night March is going to be ruling the roost, and they are all going to be playing Special Charge to recover their double colourless energies. I still think Special Charge is going to see a huge amount of play, but fighting decks use strong energy, but then they've also got Carbink Break to help them out there. We've got a plenty of decks like Mega Rayquaza that are going to really depend on double colourless, like Mega Mewtwo, who is going to be at least partly reliant on double colourless to use the Mewtwo EX's damage change. Special Charge is going to see a lot of play. Is it going to be huge? I don't know. We're going to look at Volcanion in a minute. He really relies on basic fire. Personally, I think at least at the beginning of the format, basic energy decks are going to be better than they have been, which makes double colourless and strong energy less useful, which makes Special Charge less useful. And of course, strong energy, Carbink Break. But make no mistake about it, it's a darn good card. In at number 5, Captivating Pokepuff. Now, this is a card that I don't think we will see all the uses for all that quickly. Now, there's a few things for which you can use Captivating Pokepuff. Number 1, you can use Captivating Pokepuff to annoy your opponent. What you do is you look at their hand, any basics you find there, you put on their bench. If you want to add extra annoyingness, play this with Skyfield, and then you can make your opponent have 8 bench spaces and then start filling them up. A few things you can do with this. You can just make them bench Pokemon so you can Lysander and KO it. You can make them fill up their bench so they don't have bench space to bench what they want to. You can bench their own Shaman for them. Of course, if you're benching the Shaman, you get the choice of whether to activate the setup ability. Most of the time you won't. Maybe, however, they are close to the end of the game. They've only got a few cards left in their deck. You can bench a Shaman for them, force them to draw the cards, making them deck out, which I think would be an awful lot of fun. There's all kinds of uses, but then there's a couple Pokemon that will really benefit from using this. Firstly, we have Zoroark. Zoroark does 10 damage plus 30 for each benched Pokemon your opponent has in play. If you can get them to have 5 benched Pokemon, that's 160. 3 times 50 plus 10. If you can get them to have 8 bench Pokemon, that's 250, which is 8 times 30 is 240, plus the 10 is 250. And just for a double colourless energy, I think Zoroark, I had a question this past week, do you think Zoroark with Captivating Pokepuff is now going to be a viable deck? And the answer is yes. I really, really do. And I'm glad I have like 6 Zoroarks. That makes me happy. Another card that I very much like the look of with Captivating Pokepuff is Lucario. Now this is the steel one from Fates Collide, not the fighting one. Same deal. Except here it's 30 damage plus 50 more for each Pokemon fewer than the opponent that you have in play. You don't even have to limit your bench that much. You have 2 bench Pokemon, they have 4. You are doing 150. 260s plus 30. You have 2 bench Pokemon, they have 5. You are doing 210. 3 times 60 is 180 plus the 30. Oh my goodness, this adds up quickly. In at number 4, we have Yanmega and Yanmega Break, and I love both these cards. It really, however, relies on Yanmega's Sonic Vision ability. If you've got 4 cards in hand, ignore all energy attack costs. Yanmega attacks for free. That means that you play a judge, oh look, you've got 4 cards in hand. Or you can end yourself when you've got 4 prizes remaining, or you can just manipulate your hand to make sure you've always got 4. You can do with Yanmega 50 damage or 120 if your opponent's got a tool attached. Worst case scenario, your opponent goes, I really want to attach this floatstone to give myself free retreat, but I can't do that. Or else Yanmega does more damage. I really want to put this Fighting Fury belt on, so I get extra HP and do more damage, but I can't, because then Yanmega does more damage. I love it if my opponent's doing that. You break evolve that bad boy, you go up to 140 HP, and now you do 100 damage. Unfortunately, doesn't hit for weakness, which is upsetting, because if it did hit for weakness, then you could just play a Giovanni's and one-hit KO things like Groudon. And without a Giovanni's, you could one-hit KO Zygarde. Bit upsetting, but there we go. But what really makes Yanmega good, other than the ability, is Forest of Giant Plants. It allows you to evolve all the way up to Yanmega Break and, on the first turn of the game as soon as you like. That's pretty tasty. And I think there is another split here for the top 3. I think the top 3 are Redonk. Redonk. Now, Pokemon Ranger is a card that we've been crying out for a while. Pokemon Ranger is the reason Night March is going to win World, or a Night March counter deck piloted by someone who hits a lot of Night March is going to win Worlds. It removes all effects of attacks on each player and his or her Pokemon. So, again, I can't give you everything for this. There's too much that this card does. But I'll give you 3 examples, all for Night March. Hey, I'm playing Night March. My opponent is playing Seismitoad EX. This Quaking Punch attack turns off my trainers. This is very... Oh, wait, I just played Pokemon Ranger. Now I can use trainers. Yay! How about Jolteon EX? Jolteon EX has a brilliant attack Flash Ray, which means it cannot be damaged by attacks from basic Pokemon. My opponent will try and manipulate the game state, so he only has a Jolteon EX out. There's nothing on his bench for me to Lysander and KO. I've lost... Oh, wait, no. I'm just going to play Pokemon Ranger and KO him. My opponent's playing Giratina EX. He uses Chaos Wheel. I can't play down my double colourless energy. I can't play down my Dimension Valley. How am I going to win? Oh, wait. I'm just going to play Pokemon Ranger. Those are just 3 examples of what it does and why it's going to let Night March win Worlds. It is Redonk. In at number 2, I'm cheating a little bit, but I forgive myself. Volcanion and Volcanion EX. Both these cards are ridiculous. Volcanion, for 1 energy, does 20 damage and attaches 2 fire energy to your bench, or 1 to each of 2 bench. You can't put 2 onto 1 Pokemon. This is like Veltal, but better. 20 damage, accelerating 2 energy. This is really, really good. Also, 100 for free energy is not bad when you're accelerating energy. But then Volcanion EX comes in and is just stupid. His ability, you discard a fire energy from your hand, all your basic fire Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage. And it stacks. You get one Volcanion, discard one fire energy, now Volcanion, non-EX, does 50 and accelerates 2 energy. You do that 4 times, you're doing 140. And accelerating 2 energy for 1 energy on a non-EX. It's a bit silly. Or indeed, his attack, free energy, you discard an energy from your hand, put a Fighting Fury Bat on Volcanion, you're now doing 130, plus the 30 for Steam Up, plus the 10 for Fighting Fury Bat adds up to 170. That's not bad. That will one-hit KO a lot of EXs. Volcanion, good, quite frankly. And there's a lot more you can do with Volcanion, especially the EX. I will be doing a video on him later on, so I can go into a lot more detail. I'd like to do 20 minutes on him, and I will. And number 1, I'm going Ninja Boy. Now, honestly, I wouldn't be upset if you put Pokemon Ranger number 1. I wouldn't be upset if you put the 2 Volcanions at number 1. I think anything else would be a stretch, except maybe Special Charge. I don't buy it that much now. I could be proven wrong. I love Ninja Boy, but just like captivating Pokepuff, I don't think we have even thought of half the ways we can use this yet. It's too good. There are so many games, we've all done it. You play a game and you don't start with the Pokemon you want, and you don't get the Pokemon you want on turn 1, and it's a little bit upsetting. Let's say I'm playing a Xerneas break deck, I start with a Klefki, I need 2 energy on my Xerneas on turn 2. Well, that's fine, because on turn 2 I play a Ninja Boy. The energy that was on Klefki now goes on to the Xerneas I've grabbed from my deck. That Xerneas has been down a turn because Klefki was a turn. I get to evolve. Not only do you get to switch one basic Pokemon with another, but you get to attach any energy you'd previously attached. You get to evolve. You can do the same thing of a Raichu deck. You need a Pikachu turn 1. But it doesn't really matter if you're playing Ninja Boy. Let's say you start with a Zubat. You don't have the Pikachu, but on turn 2 you can play Ninja Boy, and then you can evolve straight up into a Raichu. Or let's say you're playing a Dark deck and you've got an energy on an Yveltal, you can play a Ninja Boy, turn it into an Umbreon EX, add a double colourless energy, and then you can go and take 4 prizes off of a Mega EX. You see where I'm going with this. There are so many uses for this that even if it's not best card initially, there is so much potential here. I've got to put this as number 1. And I do hope that explained everything you need to know about Steam Siege. 22 minutes in, I think that's enough for now, so you know the deal, ladies and gentlemen. There's a comment section, and you know my rule with these videos. Feel free to disagree with my list, but if you're going to disagree, don't just say, these 4 cards should be higher. I want your own top 10 list. I did one the other day, and there were about 7 cards that people said should be higher, but nobody was saying, hey, switch these cards around. Argue with my list. Please, I'm encouraging you. But give me your own top 10 list. I want to hear it. There's a like button, click it, it'll make me happy. There's a subscribe button, click it, it'll make me happy. And if you've already subscribed, get someone else to subscribe on your behalf. And of course, the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.